r/AskReddit, taxi/Uber/Lyft drivers of Reddit. What are the most interesting/entertaining/fucked up situations that happened to you during the shift? I was unemployed at the time. Quit a job due to an abusive/toxic work environment. Had recently graduated a coding boot camp, but wasn't having any luck landing new opportunities. Bills were piling up, and honestly I was losing hope. I'm about to call it a night. Driving drunks around gets tiring, when I decide what's one more. Turns out these 3 older women wanted to do some gambling in the next state over, and had trouble finding a ride. I said yes, figured I'd just call it a night after. We get talking, turns out one of them is an IT consultant. They decide to pay me basically $100 an hour, to hang out till they are done and drive them all home. We ended up connecting. She revised my resume and put me in touch with some references of hers. I ended up making a good buck off the fares alone, and also ended up completely turning my life around while landing a dream job with a little bit of help. I wrote her a sincere thank you once I accepted the new offer, and she replied with "Help others because you can." Not a day goes by where I don't think about how lucky I am. Edit. Thanks for the silver. It's really been a wild ride. I'm glad I can share. Friend of mine visiting New York City took a taxi back to his hotel late night. Riding in the back he found a small women's clutch purse thing. Inside was the ID of a 19-year-old girl and the business card of a police officer in a town neighboring state. The police officer had the same last name as the girl, so my friend figured the officer was the girl's father and she carried the card in case she ever needed to get herself out of a traffic ticket or something. My friend figures he can leave a voicemail on the officer's business number when he gets back to the hotel, then leave the purse at the hotel front desk for the girl to come pick up. So that is exactly what he does as soon as he gets up to the hotel room. About 3 hours later, now 3 or 4 AM, he is in a deep sleep when loud knocks on his hotel room door wake him up. It's a bunch of NYPD detectives who want to know all the details of how he found the purse, like where he originally hailed the cab, etc. Turns out the girl was indeed the daughter of the cop on the business card, and she had been missing for a few days. The discovery of her clutch purse was the first sign of her that had popped up. My friend had paid for the cab via credit card and had kept the receipt, so he was able to pass that along to the detectives who, presumably, were able to use that to track down the cab driver and find out any information he could provide. Ultimately my friend doesn't know what happened. The cops never contacted him again. Not a driver, but a pretty frequent Uber/Lyft customer. So I was going up to my buddy's house in NH, and it was 25-minute drive in me, and the driver started talking. I asked him basically this exact question. My Lyft driver said one day late at night he picked up 2 dudes in Boston. They were both pretty drunk or high. One dude is in the front seat and one is the back. The guy up front starts fiddling with something in his pocket. His friend tells him to stop and just wait nervously. The dude in the front seat proceeds to pull out some cocaine and a credit card and proceeds to do it on the dashboard. The driver looks over and freaks out and tells him to put away his stuff or he kicks them out of the car. He puts it away, the dudes get dropped off, and the driver proceeds to call Lyft support. He basically says I did coke off my dashboard, don't accept his credit card anymore. Bonus story, while going to work I asked another driver this question. The driver said a bunch of guys were having a bachelor party. They were super cool and excited, hitting the strip club and the bars, and they already pre-gamed. These brothers were such brothers that they straight up invited the driver to party with them. The driver said okay. He partied with them all night long after closing the app, and I think he might be friends with some of them now. He said he had an awesome time, and so did the guy who was gonna get married. He brought them all around, and they had an awesome time. Picked up 2 guys from the hotel. Destination is in the Hollywood Hills. When we are navigating up the winding roads of the hills, one of the guys mentions that he hates going to famous football player's house because he always gets a little car sick. He tells me he knows this player because he plays for the famous player's alma mater and is in town. to work out for the NFL draft that year. This house is at the top of a hill with a beautiful view. When we get there, the drafted asks me to wait for a couple minutes, and he enters the house. After a while, he gets back in the car and tells me I'm gonna follow 3 other cars to Six Flags. First car is a big, black Suburban followed by 2 luxury German sedans, and here I'm with my economy car with an Uber sticker on it. I used to Uber/Lyft in Vermont. Picked up 4 20-something-year-old kids from New York who were visiting Burlington. I drove them back to their Airbnb in Stowe, a little less than an hour away. We are having a great time, doing sing-alongs to David Bowie. I get to Stowe and the GPS is leading me off the main road, then I turn again onto a dirt road, and then another dirt road. It's like 11 PM and I don't see a single light from a house, a car, or a street light anywhere. I jokingly say, "Man, where are you guys taking me?" One guy replies, "This is where we are going to kill you." Mind you, I have a twisted sense of humor and have actually used this as a joke when I first met the woman who is now my wife, but I immediately followed it up with joking and laughter. I share this with my passengers and another one replies, "Well, we really are just going to skin you alive." At this point, I ask them to please stop messing with me and that the joke is lost at this point. I kid you not, someone replies, "Don't worry, we'll make sure we put olive oil all over your skin so it doesn't dry out." Finally we get to the location and they invite me in for a beer. I decline. In fact, I declined to pull in the driveway. As they were getting out of the car, someone dropped their jewel in the car and needed help finding that. No chance in hell I was going to help them find it, as I wanted to be ready to bolt at a moment's notice and I wasn't going to put myself in any vulnerable situations. I went home after that one. I'm a pretty big guy, so it takes a lot for me to feel unsafe, but this was one time where I was absolutely terrified, being an Uber driver. I picked up a guy who either refused to pay a hooker from the night before, or didn't know she was a lady of the night. She proceeded to follow us. Finally he gets a call from someone, seemed like it scared him, because he told me to bring him back to his place. She followed us back there, I promptly left. Probably should have kicked him out sooner. That's why you always count your money beforehand, and put it aside in your bag before the transaction of services. And then you'll hear about the guy chasing the girl whom he paid, and she refused to fuck and someone will say that's why you never exchange money until services are ended. Payout percent 33.33% of the agreed amount before the deed, another percent 33.33 during the deed, and the last percent 33.33 after the deed. A firm handshake must be given during each exchange. I matched with a girl on Tinder by accident, and she messaged me saying she liked PBR, which is in one of my pictures. Being awkward and not wanting to waste her time, I just unmatched without saying anything. Around this time I was near the beginning of my brief tenure as an Uber driver, and who the fuck do you think I pick up the very next day? I immediately try to slouch hoping she doesn't recognize me, and after 5 minutes of silence, right when I think I'm in the clear, she says, "Hey, did we match on Tinder?" To which I reply, "I don't think so." Then she says, "Yeah, I messaged you about PBR, and then you unmatched me." And I just let out a feeble kind of "oh, yeah." Then I look down at my GPS, and there's 25 minutes left in this ride. I did not get a tip. Had a former NFL player live tweet from my backseat that he wanted to punch me in the mouth because I was chewing gum and he could hear it. Never said a word to me. I didn't even realize I was doing it. Maybe be an adult and let someone know next time instead of threatening them on social media like a little bitch. The folks driving you are people, too. Were you chewing with your mouth open or closed? Picked a guy up from a strip club around 5 PM. He had clearly been there for a while and was talkative drunk. He started talking to a friend on his phone and kept saying he couldn't go into detail because he had a lady driver. He told me he was going home and then taking his daughter out to a basketball game because there was a after game concert she was very excited about. Little did he know, or I know, because I was just following the GPS, that he had been routed to her high school. Dude's in a rumpled suit, smells like strip club, and is clearly not sober. He got a resolved look, handed me a few singles, said thanks for the ride boo, and just hitched up his pants like a man embracing his shitty situation. Subscribe and ring the bell for more.